どこかで感じたあの風探して進む先へ
Alright, hi. I got a few requests from the other players about, well, like I said before, actually, all the players to explain what the setting is a little bit better. So, this is Power Rangers Mimic Rangers. It takes place about 100 to 150 years into the future. Um, in 2026, the World War III happens, and we don't know what country it was. Could have been Russia, could have been the United States, could have been, Australia for all we know. They decided they were going to have plasma weapons created on one of the meteorites in space that was circling the planet. Because a few of the meteorites got stuck in the gravitational pull and was winding up kind of like the moon. And yeah, so the war wasn't going good. People were basically dying left and right. The place was starting to slowly become uninhabitable. And that's when the Great Plasmorite happened, the cataclysm. And the lab had basically an accident, and the meteorite had plasma seep into it, and it became almost kind of like a goo liquefied state of space rock, and it exploded. Which also explains kind of why there's humanoid DNA in all of the meteorites. Because that's why you can get. Will you stop? Yes, I'm right here. I see you. Hi. Hi. Sorry, my cat's being very stubborn right now. She wants attention. But yeah, so, if you keep biting me, you're. Okay, fine. Lay down. Ugh. It's like a big baby. And your nail is hurting me. Can you just lift it up a little bit? Alright. But yeah, so, the meteorite exploded and became a plasmarite, as some people call it. And it kind of rained down upon the earth and went everywhere. This made a lot of people start dying because it's toxic. It's plasma. Baby go, if you keep biting, you're getting pushed off. Sorry, the cat's distracting me. But yeah, so basically what happens is it rains down. Most of humanity goes and lives underground now until the earth can be inhabited again on the surface. And anything that the plasma touched, because it would be kind of like a goo liquid form, like I was saying, and then it would harden after so long being inside the oxygen. Like, stop. She is being real playful. You stop playing. Down. But yeah, so say a frog got caught in it. That's how you got the creature from the Black Lagoon. And that basically anyone that touched that plasmarite after it's hardened will slowly get infected and mutate into that type of monster. And it would only be temporary, but it would be embedded like into their skin. And if they could get rid of it, they would turn back to normal after so much time passes. Now the Rangers in this universe, they're gonna be able to reverse that, harness that power, and make morphing coins out of it. I'm not gonna say how. It's gonna be revealed in the story from Wizard Miyagi. And that's the basic premise, is trying to stop the cataclysm and, well, not the cataclysm, but the infected. Trying to stop the infected and trying to stop those that are using the plasmorites to basically conquer and do evil deeds, like typical Power Rangers, Monster of the Week. And yeah, yeah, my background's changed. So, easiest way to explain it, I know these aren't custom photos, these are all going to be photos from online. Um, I don't think I'm going to have time with everything I got to do this week to actually do custom artwork. I mean, I'm still clearly working on the office. So, and I've got to do wedding thank yous to everybody still, because I should have enough money to do all that this week, because I got to mail them all out. And I'm getting sidetracked, so I'm just going to. But yeah, so this is the type of setting it is. It's kind of got the Horizon Zero Dawn Trigunish feel. Tech, because it took them about 150 years to be able to come back and live on the surface. So that would be, say 150. So 150 years, and it was 226. So whatever, you do the math. You get what I'm going with. There is going to be a lot of futuristic tech, and then there's going to be lost tech. The lost tech is going to be like stuff like cell phones, types of guns, a little bit more modern type items for like present day versus their timeline. The buildings are gonna be kind of broken down like this. Trying to see if I have any of that. I don't. I have to re-grab it. Okay. So it takes place in a apocalyptic New York. That's set way into the future. This is Central Park. Right here is the castle. Not that. You should be able to see it there. I'm trying to see if I can get a little closer. And it's right next to one of the ponds. Now the thing is with all of these, which going backwards actually found it, the buildings are all kind of remnants of what the old buildings were. So think Gun Gale Online style buildings. You've got like some buildings falling down, some buildings have chunks missing out of it, and the whole world has kind of gone into like a medieval type futuristic setting. So, an example, the marketplaces. You go into a mall, and it's run down, and there's a broken Payless shoe store. But instead of it being Payless, because, you know, it's gone, um, it's kind of like the empty remnants of an old storefront. And some merchant goes, oh, I need to sell, like, meat, and this is, like, a perfect place because of the way the counters are that I'm going to be able to, you know, display the meats, show the shop. Okay. We're going to hang up some tops. We're going to hang up some nice tabards, some nice, sheets, basically. So it's got, like, that medieval market feel. They're going to paint it, make it look all nice and spruced up. They're going to put in some what they call lights, some, beams. And the beams are what's going to make it all look displayed, all look friendly. You know, there's literally how it looks. That's the feel of the actual shops. The other thing is food is still around, restaurants are still around. Not the restaurants now, but you know, you can kind of get that. If you've ever seen Demolition Man, that's a good example of some of the way restaurants are. I'm sure some restaurants are going to be completely different, and I'm going to use some of their names, because, yeah. Like McDonald's is going to be around, because I'm totally stealing that from Devil's a Part-Timer, because I friggin' love McDonald's being called that, and being run by a devil. The other big thing is for before I go on about the species and types of civilians that are there, we're gonna keep focusing on the towns. So here we are. Let me turn this down. So yeah, back to like the city. Um, some of these areas are gonna be completely gone because of the war. You're gonna see like fields over here where people harvest their foods. You're gonna see like new bridges put up to connect other areas, like not just the normal bridges that go to Queens. You're gonna have like a lot more bridges. Um, there's tons of kingdoms everywhere. Not all of them in castles that are built, but like the old baseball stadium. I don't know exactly where that is in New York. I'm not from New York. One of my players is, but the old Yankee Stadium is going to be literally a castle for mercenaries and bandits. And they go out and they ransack and invade other kingdoms, and most of the kingdoms in the area are going to wind up doing trade with each other and things of that nature. Which brings us to the tech again. There is still cars. They don't run off of gas anymore. They run off of basically vegetable oils. So oils of ground up like food that wasn't eating. That it's very centralized the way the things are. It's a big circle. They try to kind of do what like natives used to do, even though they don't know what natives are. Um, basically, they try to use everything they can. And yeah, so that's how that is. Um, they all have training academies for knights. The knights of the realms, they have a shield that's made out of basically metal. It straps on their wrist like this, and it has a square device actually embedded into it that actually is a generator. It opens up, and they actually have the power source. Hi, baby girl. Stop it. The power source is inside of that device, and when they push it, it actually makes hard light, which is their shield. Um, there are different colors for different knights. It does not change the look of them, unlike when the Power Rangers get theirs in this setting. What it does is it actually makes them into a futuristic knight. Let me pop this up. Now, basically, the futuristic knights. Here we go. This is a good example. They would look similar to old-fashioned knights, and they'll have guns on their left arms. Now, that isn't really too realistic for it, because they wouldn't have swords like that. They would have swords similar to this. It would be made out of light. Each of the knights will be trained in specific weapons that they succeed in, and they will have those types of weapons to create patterns of and use. And that's how the knights would be formed. Think medieval academies, police academies, that type of thing, except for more of, you know, more of medieval times. If you've ever seen like medieval times, that would be like a training thing for the knights. They would have festivals like that. They would have people come and watch them do their ceremonies when they become better. And no, it would not be a soap opera play. I'm sure there's going to be medieval time restaurants and medieval court restaurants, but I mean, it's the future. Um, this is kind of normal for them. They aren't gonna be like, oh look, you can go into the past and watch jousting. No, they actually really do joust in this damn setting. You know, they think it's some type of idiotic sport like playing chicken. There was another futuristic night that I saw before that was really cool. Oh well. But yeah, so that's how the nights are. They would do the academy, they would go through all that. So that's the night setting. That's the kind of world. Now, for species, there are a lot of different species now, considering that it's in the future. People have changed and evolved. So there's um, what would you call it? Bipedals. The bipedals are typical humans. Um, hi, typical humans. That's the easiest way to say it. There are elves. Their ears actually grew more pointed when they were underground to listen to the areas to make sure they were safe from giant moles, from worm eaters. Those would be like the giant worms from Dreamers. Um, from baby snatchers. Those are kind of like a hybrid version of a raccoon and a possum, and they go after infants. Um, Various creatures have kind of, some of them have merged with tech from basically being made. Um, so you can think of like animals off of Zoids. Zoids is a perfect example. There will be Zords, but the Zords are going to be made from Zoids in this. There's going to be um, the Sabertooths from Horizon Zero Dawn type things. There's going to be walking around mechanical animals that they've created in the past to kind of either for entertainment for people or security. There's going to be seekers. Seekers are going to be kind of like heat seekers from the Tremors 2, and those things are literally robotic, little 2 foot like fat machines. And what they do is they actually provide surveillance for basically the kingdoms. So, you know, the king and queen will have somebody hired to watch security. And when they're watching that, if these things spot bandits going out of the perimeter and coming across their lines, they would sound an alarm, and the person doing the security would have to sign it and send it off, kind of like a big buzz, like those old air raid horns. That would be going off, and that is how people would know. Oh, it's gonna be a bandit raid. Oh, something's wrong based off of the different sounds that it comes off. The old they're gonna call it old coppers, but it's an old police siren sound. That sound is for when there's a robbery in progress. When there is any type of threat, it's the air horn sound. When there is any type of incoming natural hazards, storms, tornadoes, floods, it's literally kind of like a wailing sound. Like, you know, uh, I, I'm not gonna get up to get that. I was gonna go and get the megaphone and turn it on, but no. It sounds like the megaphone sirens. It's not like how do you explain it? An ambulance. It's not the police sounds. It's more of like a long drawn out sound. And yeah, so that explained the animals. That explained some of the species. There's going to be almost like they're not orcs or dwarfs, but they're kind of like a mix of the two. they're basically going to be called miners, and those are the people that have made tunnels and refuse to live above ground still. They believe that it's safer to live under the ground in their tunnels, and they have big elaborate cities underground, like the Underdark in D&D. And the basically they live under the ground. They've got almost like a tusk jaw that goes up over their mouths like this, but they've got the rough hands of what a dwarf would have, and they've kind of got like a stout. So it's kind of like a mix of an orc and a dwarf. Um, there's fish people. They literally have webbed hands, webbed feet. They've got gills. They live in a lot of the waters that are in the area, and they adapted basically to live in like watery climates to move around. Some people call them merfolk, even though they're not mermaids at all. They're more like, you know, a rubbed Atlanteans from DC. Um, let's see, any other species? There are cat people, but that's more of the meteorite doing that. There's a lot of different creatures from the meteorite, a lot of different monsters. There's vampires, but that's also from the meteorite. Um, Pretty much think any type of science fiction creature could happen from getting mixed with the plasmorite and the DNA. But most of the stuff, all the ones I just listed, except for like the Neko, those are all just humans adapting. And yeah, that's pretty much the setting. Um, for the tech, all the kingdoms have a certain rank for people that can go into these lost buildings. Lost tech. They go into like old underground labs. They can find the tech. They can use the tech. They can embed it and work it into society. The issue with that is they won't let other people do it unless they've been like trained and everything, because they've had incidents in this world where there was biohazard incidents, where there was viruses released, where they set off a bomb and took out a whole bunch of city blocks because they didn't realize what C4 was. And it was like, you know, um, I don't I don't think it would have been a police thing. It would have been like an armory. Um, where people didn't pay attention and didn't realize that buildings were condemned from them going into it because it had a chance of falling over and killing them. So they would not allow anyone, unless you were like trained to handle situations like that, to even go near it. That's, yeah, that's pretty much the setting. Um, if I have time this week and I get to actually do the artwork, then I will, and I'll just redo this video. But most likely that's not going to happen, and this video won't get any artwork for it. And the next session will be the reset, since we did a vote of it's still going to be the morphing grid, but it's not going to be the intro session anymore. It's going to be kind of like the main session. We threw the intro session out. I was recovering from being sick. We didn't have everything laid out as smooth, and we didn't have a turn order, and that just, all of that combined made it not smooth. The players did have fun, but they want a little more organization, so we're definitely going to do that. And clearly we've got a new webcam. My brother spotted me so I could get this because it was on sale for half off. So, I mean, it does have a background remover, which is nice, and I was going to use that, but As you can see, it's kind of fidgety, and when you do things, it's going to like. I'm gonna see if I can get out of my body to disappear. Let's see. Yeah, so like my head is missing here. Um, it just kind of disappears in and out. It would work good for the little 20. See, there goes my hand. You can't see my fingers. It will work good for roll 20 for the smaller, you know, smaller video, but it's not gonna work so smooth for this stuff. So I'm kind of. The camera's amazing. I love the camera. It's got great quality, but I think I'll leave the background removal because it seems like new tech and it was advertised and it looks well sometimes. So like sometimes it looks amazing as I've tried a few times. And other times it's kind of but yeah, so that's the world. That's how it came to be. That's how society is. Um, they don't really have cell phones anymore. These are kind of lost tech. But they do have what they call screens. Screens are pretty much tablets. I completely forgot to point this one out. Um, do I have my Fire tablet nearby? No, but I have a cat eating a freaking cord. Stop it. Get out of there. Shoot. Shoo, shoo. Go. Get. Don't come near me again. Don't go after the cord. You gotta go around. There you go. Stop. So yeah, I'll just use my phone. And I'll hold it real close so you'll see the size of like a tablet. So that, yeah. Gotta love perception. So that is how it looks. It's like a giant phone. It also projects out of it. So when the tablet's on the ground, this is actually how the screen would work. It would be in the center. And you can shoot holographic messages. You can have people communicate back and forth through kind of the "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope" look. A lot of this is very um, the feels a lot Star Wars, Star Trek. It's just it's not really in space. It's here in an apocalyptic world that kind of feels like it's straight out of Doomsday, with like the Mad Max medieval times. And yeah, that's it. Um, I don't have anything else to point out. I mean, I forgot about that, but that was very minor compared to everything else. Um, I don't think I explained how the morphers worked, so I guess I'll do that quickly. The morphers are a modified um, night shield, so those devices I told you about. Um, Wizard Miyagi and Princess Cleo found old morphers from like the original Power Rangers, from the ones that aired in the US, like really old morphers with like, you know, Tyrannosaurus, Pterodactyl, Triceratops, Mastodon, Saber-toothed Tiger, White Tiger, and Dragonzord. But yeah, so the way it works is they modified it where the chamber that's kind of like a suction chamber that takes the power cell or the power crystal um, to give people the ability to transform into knights. And they found out when they tinkered with it and put the how do you explain it? The tech from the morpher around and adjusted it in a certain way, they could transform people into Power Rangers. And they would use the coins, the morphing coins. They could also use the material from the plasmorite crystals to transform into the creatures that are basically infected people. Um, I think I explained that in this video. I'm doing a re-recording of the previous video because I put up a site that I didn't want to put up. Um, Basically, bandits and citizens and pretty much anyone that picks up these plasmorites, if it had like some sort of DNA into it, like a frog that got sucked into the goop um, before it hardened, or uh, um, trying to think about different ones, a cat, a woodpecker, a vampire bat, like not like a vampire or Dracula, but a vampire bat, and they picked it up, they would mutate, and after so long they would lose their mind and it would be stuck in them wherever it shifted. And the rangers with their morphers will have a way to contain this and remove it. So they can transform people back almost instantly instead of just keeping them away from the plasmorite for so long to transform back. Um, if they use the stone as is, they can transform their Power Ranger suit into the creature. So it would be like a modified version of like the creature from the Black Lagoon, but it would be literally um, the Power Ranger outfit with Black Lagoon-esque feels like that. Now, they can with Wizard Miyagi, which I'm not going to explain how he shows them, because that's part for the game. Modify that and make it into the coins so they don't have a chance of accidentally losing their minds and morphing, unwillingly into the creature constant. And those coins can be used for a certain amount of times before they have to go back to the morphing grid. And that's how I'm doing the rewards a lot of times for the players. When you find that, Wizard Miyagi is going to take that and create 5 or 6, depending on how many ranges we have by then, coins. And those coins have about a 15-minute charge, and then they have to go back to the grid to be used. I took away the using it 2 or 3 times before it has to be recharged, because I feel like the whole point of the game is kind of like it's kind of supposed to have that survivability feel, where it's like, oh, we only have so much time to use this coin, and we've got 5 of them. So one of us could use it, or we could all use it depending on the situation. Say you're in an underwater battle, then you're all gonna want that frog coin, or you guys are gonna want some type of coin to be able to survive under the water and fight with this scale monster or this big Cthulhuous creature. I explained about the Zords. I explained about everything, I think. They've still got doctors. They've still got all that. Yeah. I mean, there will be some things that are similar to dinosaurs, but they're basically plasmorite touched some type of lizard or Komodo dragon, and it mixed with either a person or another animal, or just mutated itself and became that creature. And I've been rambling and explaining the setting for a while. I mean, it's been 34 minutes, so I think that's gonna be it, because I need to make dinner and eat within the hour, and I gotta wake up my husband so he can go to work. So I've done absolutely nothing since I got home other than set this up, check on the brakes that are starting to grind together, which we have to replace, because I don't know how to do that, but I had someone walk me through being able to tell if it's starting to wear down. Hopefully it's just the shoes, as my father said, so then I can just have him help and replace that, since it's like lifetime for that. I don't know cars. But yeah, so that's it. That's the wrap of it. Um, I'm gonna shut up and go now.